Hello, my name is Susanna Gray-Jones. Thank you so much for coming on to my solo episodes. I love doing these solo episodes because I personally learn quite a lot from other people when times are difficult. And I like to give all the nuggets of wisdom that come my way and hopefully help somebody else if they are going through similar. I'm going to start off by telling you a secret. Yeah, last year I had the best year ever in recruitment. I was flying. I felt like a pro. I thought maybe I don't have to work that hard. Maybe it's going to be easy. This year's been tougher. It's been tougher on the market. It's been tougher for me. I have found myself tipping underneath target, and I hope to grow this year. I am struggling a bit. So I've been really internalizing all of the thoughts that I've ever had and all of the wisdom that I've ever gained about getting back over target. Now, bear in mind, I have been in recruitment for over 15 years. So I have had my fair share of moments where I have fallen under target, and it's horrible. Sometimes we can be a perfectionist. Sometimes we can give ourselves a really hard time. Sometimes we can get burnout. So I'm going to give you some simple techniques that will help you if you are feeling upset that you are under target and you feel maybe that there's nowhere out. Now, let's face it, it really, really sucks to be under target. There is no lie. There's nothing that's going to make that feel any better for you. Maybe your boss is on your case. Maybe the numbers are up on the board and you can see them in front of you constantly. Perhaps you constantly having dropouts. You thought things were going well and you thought you could put your foot off the gas, but now everyone's dropping out. Maybe they're even ghosting you. Maybe you know that you have to make X amount of calls, but you're behind, and that's just making you really stressed. Clients don't seem to need you. In fact, some are rude to you when you pick up the phone and make that call and do that business development outreach. Perhaps you're working and the terms are just not getting signed. You're stalking people. When does it get too much to keep asking someone to sign your terms? Maybe the candidates are just not doing what you want them to do or coming up with excuses and you don't agree. It can feel tough. We can lose sleep. We can get snappy. We can really give ourselves a hard time. In fact, you might be worried that you're going to lose your job, or the worst fears for me. I always have the fear that my family will be out on the street with no food. And it's so unrealistic, but we have these irrational thoughts that make us feel that things are just going to be absolutely terrible for us. So the first thing that I will say to you is now stop. You have a choice, okay? Maybe you're thinking that you're not cut out for recruitment and that you need to leave it or you need to stay. So there's so much here. There's the resilience that we can build. You might think you're not a resilient person, but you can build that resilience. In my experience, if you're worried that you're going to get fired, it is so rare that people actually get fired if they have the right attitude, if they think, actually, I'm going to have to work late today. There's a lot about working late that people say is, oh, I don't want to work late, mental health, mindfulness and all of that, which is really important. But if you are under target, find a way to enjoy the process and just make yourself stay late a few times. But most importantly, show your boss that you care, because at this point, your boss just wants to know that you are caring as much as they do. If they care more about you getting onto target than you do, then there's a problem. So just make sure that you are showing willing on your side. And that might mean staying a bit late sometimes. You can still find that time to relax. You can still find that time for mindfulness. So just think about how you can show your boss with your attitude that you are willing and that you want to go that extra mile. If it doesn't happen for you, at least they will see that you are putting in that extra effort. Now let's think about our mindset. We always think the worst. When things are going badly, it's very difficult to get into that positive mindset. So first of all, reframe the situation. See being under target not as a threat to your job, not as a threat to your career and your life, but see it very much as an opportunity to push yourself and to discover new strategies. Think of it as a challenge, not a failure. So I always think when the market's tough, this is when all my competitors quit. This is when more than ever, I need to be on my game and putting in twice the amount of effort. Focus on what you can control, okay? Because there are some things that you just cannot control. So think about your actions, okay? We cannot control necessarily how things are going to go for us. But as Greg Savage always says, recruitment is not a game of luck. We can control our actions. We can't always control the reactions of others, but we can control our actions and our reactions to how they react to us, and also our mindset. So concentrate on the actions that you can take control of, okay? Be accountable. Don't look to blame, and don't do what everyone does when we get under target. Don't make excuses, because we always think, oh, maybe it's the market. And then we get comfortable in that. And that's an excuse, and it prevents us from reaching our full potential. So this might involve maybe for you reaching out to more candidates, double the amount of candidates, but doing it in a really impactful way, refining your pitch, but also improving your follow-up process. How can you be memorable? How can you do that little thing that no one else did, like saying thank you for choosing me to work with? Little things that can make someone feel really special. A compliment goes a long way. Break down your goals. So sometimes it's very easy to just see the bigger picture and to get freaked out by all the things we need to do, but break your targets into smaller, manageable daily goals. So celebrate those mini goals, right? So today, when I've completed this podcast episode, I'm going to go down and get myself a really nice breakfast. So think of what things can you do for the mini goals to keep yourself going, to keep your mindset up and your motivation at full pace. So little prompts, mini goals. Don't get overwhelmed. And if you've had something bad happen that day, it doesn't mean it's a bad day. It means it could just be a bad 20 minutes. Put it into a 20-minute, bad 20 minutes, onto the next 20 minutes and onto the next time block. If there's something that you dread doing every day, get it done first thing in the day. Eat that frog. It's one of the best phrases, and I always use it, because if you had a frog, you knew you had to eat it, it's not going to get any easier as the day goes on. In fact, it'll probably get quite stinky. It will probably become something that makes you anxious about everything else that you have to do. So do the hardest thing that you have to do first thing, and then automatically you'll feel like you've set yourself up for success that day. Reflect, be honest with yourself, know what didn't work, because you probably did fail along the way. We always say, maybe 4 weeks ago, I didn't put in as much effort. I thought I was an account manager. Things were going well. Things were easy. We've all been there. It's literally like a big jungle ride. You never know what's going to come next. And ultimately, we get really comfortable and think it's all nice before then something bad happens. So make sure that you are consistently putting in that activity and be honest. What didn't work? What could have gone better? And don't give yourself a hard time. Don't give yourself a hard time. Learn from others. Seek advice from people who are doing well, because trust me, it didn't always go well for them. So ask them how they bounced back when it didn't go well. What makes them successful? Get their honest feedback. I always talk about feedback. The most important thing I have learned in life is that feedback is a gift. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to agree with it, but you can explore it. And if you're open to exploring any feedback, whether it's something that necessarily you don't agree with, you will go so much further. You will expose your blind spot, and you will essentially become more full of potential in your life, in your work, and basically in a situation that you can be the best version of yourself. And ask yourself, why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself? Because being alive in itself is a miracle scientifically. So ask yourself, why wouldn't I want to explore feedback? And thank people for feedback. Doesn't mean you have to go with it, but you can explore it. And if you don't know, you have no idea where you could be going wrong. So speak to those top performers, look at them. What are they doing that you can't? Maybe they're different to you. Maybe you can add your own spin to it, but they might offer you some insights and techniques that could work for you. So remember those time blocks. I'm a massive believer in sales, not to do 2-hour slots, but do 15-minute, 20-minute, be organized, be intentional, block out those distractions. Prioritize the tasks that are going to make you money, because we can all get bogged down writing a profile, looking through terms, but what is going to make me money now? And ultimately, always that's outbound, picking up the phone, outreaching to X amount of people, but doing it in a really impactful way. Now, make sure you stick to those time blocking slots, because if you don't, the likelihood is you're going to get overwhelmed and you will feel burnt out, and then you will not feel that you have control over your day and what you have to do. So stick to those 15, 20-minute slots and forgive yourself, because trust me, it's not always going to work. You probably had a timetable before, diverted from it, and never got back to it, right? I've done that too. So make sure that when you do fail, that you bounce back. The biggest thing in life that you can learn is failing and bouncing back, because too many people, they go to the gym, they have a New Year's resolution, and they never finish it, because essentially they failed, and that feels awful. They feel ashamed, and that brings around these feelings of, well, I'm not going to try again because look, it failed last time. Sometimes we just need to keep discipline and learn that it's okay that I didn't work out. It was okay that I didn't do any sales calls last week, because today is a new day. So practice that self-compassion. Avoid that negative self-talk, because trust me, I am always saying no one is looking for a job I am going to shut down my business because no one's looking for a job. I'm never going to make another placement. I'm never going to hit target. I'm going to leave recruitment. We all have those days. So ultimately, try and do everything you can to avoid this negative self-talk, because the truth is it's not real. Of course, there are people looking for a job. Of course, there's a client out there who needs you. Visualize it. There's someone out there who just hasn't had your call yet. There's a candidate out there who just hasn't heard of you yet. So acknowledge the truth. Don't get into the negative, unreal self-talks that actually are not true. The truth is that there is someone out there who needs you, and there is a way that you can bring this back. So acknowledge that everyone faces challenges. It's all part of the process. The world's best entrepreneurs are successful because they've tried and failed, not being overly cautious. So failing, learning to fail, is extremely crucial. But you can only bounce back again if you are healthy. So make sure that you are taking care of your physical health. And for me, it's very simple. Sleep. I try to get a minimum of 7 hours sleep. I don't always do it, but when I do, I really do notice a difference looking after your physical health. So thinking about exercise, often people find in the morning they feel less sluggish if they get their exercise done first thing. Good nutrition. It's so easy. The more bad food we eat, the more bad food we want. So think about how you can do yourself a favor to improve your mental outlook. And trust me, we get it wrong all the time. The uncomfortable truth of this is that you will get it wrong sometimes, but it's how you bounce back and get back on track. Know the importance of the why you want to do it to be a better version of yourself. Positive affirmations are crucial because that negative self-talk will come in. You will feel like your manager's on your back. You will feel like everyone can see that you are going down on your days or your target or your figures. So use positive affirmations. Think about things like constructive tones, reminding yourself of past successes. For me, it's setting myself reminders, right? I set my business up during COVID. It was the hardest time ever. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I remind myself that that was really good. And without getting big headed, you know that you have enough in your toolkit. You got that job for a reason, right? You have every capability to keep going. Set yourself reminders on your phone, put things up around you, make your environment positive. Engage in stress relief activities. So I love a bit of meditation. They say if you don't have 10 minutes to meditate a day, then you definitely need to meditate. Maybe it's yoga for you. Maybe it's music, having some music on in the background that really calms you down. My husband always has classic FM on in the evenings, maybe when everyone's a bit tired and a bit stressed. You don't notice it, but it certainly calms you down and makes you feel like you can be in a more positive mindset. So what things can you do in your day during this really difficult time to make you feel more positive? Simple, small things. Positive affirmations might sound cheesy, might sound cringe, but it really does help and it will get you to where you want to be. I always visualize success. So for me, it is getting into a townhouse, my two kids having their own bedroom. At the moment, we live in a flat because we are temporarily saving. So I visualize, what does that look like? Spend a few minutes a day visualizing how that would feel when you meet the targets, and then work backwards and break it down into small things that you can then get that discipline on, and that will boost your motivation and your drive. Know that you are capable of it because it has been done by others before and it can be done by you. Talk to your manager, make them aware that you are worried, tell them that you are doing everything that you can, ask them what evidence they want to see to essentially see that you are doing everything that you can, and then put it into practice, implement those strategies. Don't let your negative self-talk get in the way because it is completely possible. You can do it. You'll surprise yourself. And if you don't try, you'll never know. So you can improve your chances of turning around a situation if you feel like your manager has your back to turn it around, and you can turn it around, okay? Don't let yourself think that, oh, I will get burnt out or all these things, because as long as you're looking after yourself and self-care and switching off, then you can put in those extra miles and make it better. Think about being resilient, okay? Now, a lot of people think they're not resilient, but all resilience is how you respond to failure. Look at the world's best entrepreneurs. They've all failed. So persist amongst the noise in trying to lift yourself up. Know that this being under target is actually probably the best lesson you'll learn. Setbacks are simply not the end of your story. So they're literally just chapters in the larger narrative that will lead to success. And I would be worried if you told me that you didn't have any setbacks or you hadn't failed, because trust me, that would not be building that resilience muscle that you need to build that strength to get to where you need to get to in your career. Mistakes and failures are simply not your identity. In fact, they will help others. So use them, embrace them, but bounce back. So think of them as your teachers. They shape you and ultimately they make you much stronger. Every why that you've got. So think about, what is my why? What is my purpose? You know what it is for you. For me, it's to be the best mum that I can be to my kids, but also to create a healthy and comfortable life for them. So ask yourself, what is my why? What is my dream? And that actually involves stepping out the boundaries that are comfortable, like going to the gym. You're going to feel pain. Any stepping outside of the boundaries is going to be a bit painful. And that might be now, that might be being under target. So this might be the price that you have to pay. So daring to do the things that other people are stepping away from. All the other recruiters are quitting. Trust me, there are so many recruiters quitting the minute they get under target. Don't be one of them. Don't be one of them. Be relentless. Be intentional on your journey and your pursuit to essentially be a top performer, because you can be. I'm not particularly intelligent, right? I'm not particularly clever. I've struggled along the way and I've managed to get onto target. I've worked my way up to sales director. I'm definitely not special. I just had a good attitude and I've realized that failure is really important. But this journey is yours. Don't live it by someone else and their expectations. Define success by your own metrics, okay? Not by where basically the world says you should be. Maybe being a director is not right for you. Maybe just earning a lot of money is important for you. Maybe having a better work-life balance. But ultimately, we have to go outside the boundaries to get your authenticity and your passion complete to go on your journey to be successful. So today, know your why. Who are you meant to be? What kind of impact do you want to have on this world? Because you have no idea how much longer you've got left. No one does. Look at history. No one knew when they were going to die. No one knew that they were going to not hit 30. There were all sorts of reasons that you need to embrace each day. The fact that you're here is in fact a miracle. So really think about, start building a life one genuine step at a time. Literally, the world does not need another entrepreneur, another Stephen Bartlett or another Steve Jobs. Ultimately, this is your journey. You need to do it in your best way. The raw, real you will make a difference. So embrace that and embrace your failures, embrace the things that you find difficult. I'm going to finish with a quote. I know that this episode is very much about people who are not on target, but ultimately at some time you will find that you fail. And Winston Churchill, for me, was one of those characters that certainly was determined and didn't care what other people thought, went on his own route, despite what people were saying around him. And he had a really great quote, and it says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And I completely agree with that. Resilience is you finding that courage to keep going when it is going tough, and you will get there. And if you're worried or you think, actually, I might lose my job or anything like that, just reach out to me. I'm not just a headhunter. I will be more than happy to talk to you about how you can navigate this difficult time. Thank you for listening to the episode. Please do tune in to next episode. If you liked it, do let me know and keep in touch. Thank you very much.